11:32, Gelb and Chase here with you on the main event, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP. Temple drops one in Memphis in heartbreaking fashion, and now joining us in studio actually is a big-time senior player for the Temple Owls, and that's Dalton Pepper. Dalton, it's Zach Gelb and Chase Sr. Nice to see you in studio. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. How you guys doing?
Well, we're doing great. I know we were kidding around with you before you came on the air, and we were talking about how you were a Villanova fan growing up, and I grew up for Villanova as well. My dad went there, and now there's not too much love for Villanova, but you look back at some of those Villanova teams, Reynolds in the Final Four run that they went up against, and we were talking about some of the other players. Those are just some fun team to watch, and it really speaks about the Big Five and everything in this area with basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I loved growing up and going to see some Villanova games. My father was friends with Jay Wright. They played against each other in high school, so I was able to talk to him a little bit. I had a good relationship with him. Just watching their guards, it was amazing watching them play, and being able to play against them. I know they're having a real good year this year is something special. So.
You were the player of the year in PA. Were you looking at Nova at all coming out of high school?
Yeah, they were one of my top choices coming out of high school. I just decided I didn't really want to stay closer to home, so I went to West Virginia from the beginning.
Dalton Pepper joins us in the studio, and let's get to the Memphis game. You had the final play in overtime. Quinnen chucks up the shot. It doesn't go through. It looked like you were right on the corner, putting your hands up in the air, calling for the ball. So take me through that sequence. You have the missed shot by Will, get the rebound. They go to 1-1. They miss the first. You guys get the ball, come running down the court. What happened on that final play?
I mean, we were just hoping he misses the free throw, and he did. We got the rebound. We knew we didn't have any timeouts left. I mean, there's only 7-8 seconds really to play. You don't really have much time to react or think about where you're going or something. So I mean, Quinn made the right play. There was about 2 seconds left, 3 seconds. So I thought it was going in, but I mean, things happen like that. And in regulation, we had a chance to win it. We put up some shots, and they just didn't fall, really. So
it's kind of the story of the season. I mean, Temple's been able to take these teams, these ranked teams, down to the last minute time and time again. So, again, you suffer kind of a heartbreaking loss. You coming off the floor just saying, man, it happened again.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a big win for our team. Just coming off beating SMU last week, holding in there with UConn, a close game. So, I mean, It would have been nice to get that win, especially at Memphis. It's a hostile environment. It was a packed house. It was a fun game. It's just, I mean, the way the season's been going earlier in the year too, we lost a lot of games like that, and I mean, that's just the story of the season. So.
How much did that SMU win really boost the confidence of this team? Because you had Larry Brown coming in, you're a local guy, you know what he was able to do with the Sixers. It was a big storyline. SMU was one of the hottest teams in the country coming into that game, and without Anthony Lee, you played them really well. Down the stretch, you were able to finally close out a game. What does a win like that do to a team's confidence, especially when you're the only senior and everybody else is a little bit younger?
I mean, it was a great win, especially since when we went to their place, they kind of handed it to us. But I mean, knowing their coaching staff, they have a lot of guys from the city. I think George Lynch,
Eric Snow too.
Eric Snow.
Yep.
So I mean, growing up watching those guys play, Larry Brown coach, it was a fun time getting to play against them and beat them at our house. I mean, it would have been. They actually got the win yesterday, I think, at UConn. They won by like 9, I think, which is a big win for them. I mean, they're a good team, and it just shows that we can hang with really anybody. It's just a matter of closing out games and closing out possessions.
You guys lose 5 seniors last year, and that team went on a great run in the tournament, almost beat Indiana, have a few more players make some shots, and you guys come in this year a little bit, you don't have the most numbers in the nation on the roster, and then Dingle goes down, and you lose another key part of this team. But you guys, whether it was the Texas game or whether it was UConn the other night, SMU, Memphis, you guys are still sticking in there and playing on a down year. What does that say about Fran Dunphy, how he continues, even on a down year, to keep you guys focused and still get a good effort out of you guys?
I mean, losing Dingle in the beginning of the season was a huge loss for us. We just came off a big win at against LIU. He played probably his best game of the season, and he was getting his confidence back and starting to really play the way he can play. And then he went down, and I mean, it hurt us a lot just because he's a vocal guy. He's good on and off the course. So, I mean, that was a big loss for us, and I think Coach has done a real good job of making the best of what he has. He really only has 7-8 guys who are able to play, and other teams are rolling out guys off the bench, 9-10 guys, and it's tough playing. Not able to bring off guys off the bench because I think last game, I don't know if we had any bench scoring, and I think they had almost 20. I guess.
There's 0 bench points.
Yeah, so I mean it's tough that way, but I think coach has done a real good job of keeping us up and just ready to go for game time, and being able to hang with guys like Memphis at Memphis. So I think he's done a real good job.
Basketball is a game of runs, and this year, I remember the Cincinnati game you played. You put your team on your back, and you brought them all the way back from, it seemed like it was down 20-plus points. And we've seen this team go through the course of the season, have some stretches where the shots aren't falling and the defense isn't there. Do you guys feel like you haven't really put together a full 40 minutes yet of basketball? I guess SMU and LIU would be the 2 games that stand out, but there have been a lot of games this year where the defense isn't there for the majority of the game and the shots just aren't falling.
Yeah, coach says it time and time again. If maybe 2-3 stops our way, 2-3 more made shots, and we win a few more of those games. So, it's come down to really that 1 possession, 2 possession here and there, and we make a play here, make a play there, and then I think the outcome of the game turns our way. That's how the season's been, and hopefully. We've been playing well lately, so hopefully during the end of the stretch we can get things going for the conference tournament and beat some teams down there in Memphis.
Zach mentioned that game against Cincinnati as Dalton Pepper joins us in studio. You scored 27 second-half points, and you were just jacking up 3 after 3, and everything that you basically were shooting was going in. That Friday, I think Melo dropped 60-plus points, and after the game, he talked about there's just this zone that sometimes a shooter can get in where anything that you throw up is going to go in, and not a lot of guys know what it's like to be in that zone. And after the game, you talked about being in that zone. To do it in pickup is one thing, but to do it in an actual game is another. What was it like being in that zone where everything that you were jacking up was just going in?
Melo's right. I guess whatever you're looking at the basket, you think it's going in. It looks like it's
a swimming pool.
Yeah, exactly. So I felt good making those shots, bringing the team back, and hanging on to Cincinnati down to the last play. Really, where Kilpatrick got fouled and. He made his 2 free throws, but in a time like that, you're really just putting the shot up and it's going in, and you're just thinking, oh man, another one. So
you were a phenomenal player in high school. You went to West Virginia under Bob Huggins, who's a fantastic coach. You were a pretty important figure in that Final Four run, and then you had to come back, unfortunately, because of some problems you had in your family. But last year, after sitting out a year, did you think that, man, I just got to get on the court and get some minutes so I can show coaches what I can do? Because in that NCAA tournament, I don't think you really played that much. Did you think in your mind that if I'm able to go out there on the court, I can show them what I got, I can help this team win? Everyone really. Anyone could really say that, but we had 5 seniors, and it was their time to play. So Scooty, Khalif, all 5 seniors were really good players. Unfortunately, we didn't get to win it against Indiana, but they deserve to be out there because they've put in the time, and I guess now it's my time, so I'll be able to play. Has it been a relief at all for you personally, being able to play this year? You're thrown into a role where you are the number 1 offensive player. Is it a little bit of relief for you because of your college career was a little bit slow up to this season?
It's a good feeling just being able to go out and compete at a high level and play with your teammates. Nobody really goes to college to sit on the bench and do stuff like that. So it's a good feeling being able to play, and especially in games like Sunday. Just being able to play, or Saturday, being able to play against Memphis in Memphis. And being a vocal point on offense and defense, and being able to compete and take them down to the wire. It's a good feeling.
Dalton Pepper joins us in the studio, Philly's #1 college radio station, WHIP, Gelb and Chase, here with you for the main event. And we talked about how you lost those 5 seniors, and everyone keeps on mentioning Khalif Wyatt, even though he's out of here. And I know he got picked up by the D-League, by the Springfield Armor, and he had like 24 points in the fourth quarter. He just went absolutely nuts in Khalif Wyatt mode. But you had to replace him, and then you are now looked at as the #1 guy. And they bring in some younger guys, whether it was Josh Brown or Mark Williams coming over, DeCozy and Dingle, until Dingle got hurt, getting more minutes. How did you embrace that leadership role? Because even guys that are looked at leaders on this team like Will and also Lee are even still in their junior years, and you're only the true senior on the roster.
Yeah, I mean they know I've been to the Final Four with some good teams, being able to play in big games like that, and I mean, just being able to go in there, they know it's my last year. They know I want to go out and win. So I mean, they know that from the get-go, and I think that helps a lot. So I mean, just being able to help those younger guys like Quentin, because I think he could be a really good player come down the stretch, and he'll be a big part of Temple's basketball program. So I mean, helping him out. Guys like Mark Williams and Josh, they're coming up. They're getting a lot of minutes as a freshman. So I mean, it's big for them too, because I think coach doesn't really play many freshmen. So I mean, they're getting a lot of experience and being able to be out on the floor, which is good for them and the program. So.
Then you also have some transfers too that are sitting out this year. Coleman, Bond, and they still have to work out Morgan's eligibility. But how much of a factor, although those guys aren't on the court, how are they playing in this year, whether it's in practice or just even being good motivational teammates?
They're great. They're all great guys, all 3 of them. I mean, they help us out in practice big time. Jesse, he's a real good player. I mean, he can score the ball. He plays defense, and I think he'll be a huge part. If he can get that eligibility, he'll be a huge part next year. Jalen, I mean, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people just because he didn't get that much time at Texas, but I think he's going to really play well next year. And same with Devin Coleman from Clemson. I mean, they're all 3 really good guys. They know how to play, and I think they'll help this team big time next year.
Over the years, this team has been so close in some of these NCAA tournament games. You obviously were there for the Indiana game last year, and this team took San Diego State to an overtime, or possibly 2 overtimes a couple of years ago when Lavoie was still on the team. Cornell is also a game that Temple should have won but did not. With you being the only senior leaving and everybody returning next year, and hopefully all 3 of those transfers joining the squad next year, do you think that this team is pretty close to making another run in the NCAA tournament?
Are you talking about next year?
Next year, yeah.
I mean, I do. I really do. They got a lot of guys. I mean, Will's coming back as a senior. Anthony. So I mean, they got a lot of experience. Jesse's gonna be a senior. I mean, they've got all the tools. They'll be pretty deep with Dingle coming back as well. So I mean, they're gonna be a deep team. They're not gonna a lot of guys. They can run in a lot of guys just like a lot of teams do on us. So I mean, I think they really can make a good run next year and shock some teams too.
Sticking with the postseason side, that run to the Final Four for you were a freshman, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's unbelievable to be able to participate on a team as a freshman that made it to the Final Four. What was that experience like? Because that team went on to face a really good Duke team, and Deshaun Butler in that tournament was one of the most electrifying players in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely the best college player I've played with. He made, I think it was that year, maybe 8 game-winning buzzer beaters.
He was unbelievable.
Yeah, so I mean, it was crazy just watching him play and seeing what he does on and off the court to become a player like that. And he was a good role model to me, and he still is. You still talk to him to this day. So I mean, yeah, he's a real good guy, and I think just being part of that experience is something that not a lot of people can say they did, and it was a real good feeling for me being able to play, even get on the court in front of 85,000. So I mean, it's pretty good opportunity.
When you get that experience at such a young age, does it kind of set a fire under your belly a little bit and just say, hey, these are the expectations, this is where I want to be year after year? And it's tough. Some years you don't get back there. It's just part of the game. But that'll light a fire under you when you got to that run?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's really what you look forward to, is making the Final Four. Every team at the beginning of the year, that's where they want to be. So I mean, that's I guess you could say it really does put a fire under you and make you want that even more, just because you've been there and you don't want to settle for anything less than that.
I can tell you love the game. When I watch you play, you always have a lot of passion on the court, and I'm a big basketball fan, college hoops fan growing up in New York, and I would always go to Madison Square Garden and watch the Big East tournament, and over the years, through some things, conferences have changed, and the Big East, as what we knew, broke up a little bit, and you guys were supposed to go to the Big East. Now you're in the American Athletic Conference, so when you were at West Virginia, you played in the Big East. Was that all a bit of a bitter taste when you find out you were going to the American Athletic Conference because you were in that position possibly to get back to the Big East?
Not really bitter. I mean, just because there's solid teams in this league right now. Yeah, so I mean, every night is either a top 25 team or a team that could be ranked. So I mean, being able to play against Louisville, UConn, Memphis, that night in and night out is just a great feeling. I mean, I wouldn't say it's bitter just because we're getting good exposure, getting to play big time games on national TV. So I mean, it's a good thing. So
you watch a lot of NBA games?
I try to once in a while, but usually I wait till the playoffs just to get involved.
Yeah, it's been a boring season anyway. We all know it's coming down to the Heat and the Pacers in the East, and a few teams out west. So.
Yeah. Any guys you watched growing up that you kind of modeled your game after or enjoyed watching?
I mean, growing up, my favorite player was Tracy McGrady. When he played for the Magic, but other than that, I mean, I loved watching AI play, Larry Brown and them with the Sixers when they.
AI was awesome, man.
Yeah, when they went to the championship against the Lakers. So, I mean, I was a Sixers fan. I still am, and I hopefully they can get these draft pick next year and get some pretty good players.
The tradition in Philadelphia with basketball, we all know, is exceptional in the college ranks and even on the NBA level. And you look at Temple, their program, they have over 1,800 wins. And over the years, they've struggled, though, to get that big-time recruit. And they've had some great players, Khalif Wyatt, Lavoy Allen, Michael Eric. We've seen players come through this university and have success, even going back to Hal Lear in those days as well. If you had to sit down to a senior who was looking in high school saying, I maybe want to go to Temple, what would you say to him to try to convince him to come to Temple? Because obviously it's had a good impact on your career.
I liked coming to Temple just because every night, I mean, you're not expected to win, and going out there and being the underdog is something that I like playing in against. I guess just because everyone's always rooting for the underdog on TV when they're watching the game. So I mean, that feeling and just being able to get that exposure against big time teams and playing under a guy like Coach Dunphy is just a great feeling. And people look at the Kentuckys and the Kansases with all those wins, but then you got to name Temple because they're up there with the most wins. And I mean, just being a part of this program and being able to play in big time games, I think a senior should be able to definitely come here and make this their place.
Since coming to Temple, you obviously had to sit out the first year due to NCAA transfer rules, and last year your minutes were a bit spare. What has helped you improve coming to Temple as a player on the basketball court?
Definitely just maturing off the court. I mean, coming in, I was a little bit immature, didn't always do what I had to do, but at the end of last year and this year, I definitely focused in on doing the right things and making the right decisions and being able to transition that from off the court to on the court. So.
West Virginia's a little crazy too down there.
Yeah, it's I'm not gonna really
different environment.
It's nuts.
On the way out here with Dalton Pepper from the men's basketball team, I asked this question last year to Jake O'Brien when he came in studio, and it was his senior year. You only got a few more games left. You have the American Athletic Conference tournament down in Tennessee. What are you trying to accomplish from here on out? How do you want people to remember Dalton Pepper when it's all said and done here at Temple?
Just somebody who goes on the court and tries to put everything out there and just help the team win in any way possible they really can, and just going out and making your teammates better and just ending the season off the right note, I guess I would say. You
want to continue your playing career, whether that be, hopefully in the NBA, if not overseas, after this?
Definitely. Wherever it takes me overseas, anything where I'm able to play and make money, I would definitely like to do. So.
Do you talk to a friend of yours in Khalif Wyatt, maybe? I know you still have a few games left, and you may not be thinking that way, but would you give a call out to Khalif, who's been bouncing around in the D-League in China, just to say, hey, any advice you have, something like that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. He was in China. He came back to play in the D-League. I mean, he's a great player, a great friend. I'll definitely give him a call and see what he has to say, and listen to anything, advice or pointers that he has to do in the whole process. So.
Well, best of luck. Continue out the season. We appreciate you giving us a few minutes and coming in the studio today. It's great to see you, and thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Dalton Pepper right there for the men's basketball team. 215-204-9449 is the number. We'll take a quick break, and we'll wrap up